Welcome to Art Stock. I'm Bill Roberts.
I'm Jennifer Boudreau.
Here we are in the year 2017.
That came up really fast.
Sure did, didn't it?
It occurred to me yesterday that I've been out of high school now for 50% of my life.
Wow.
Isn't that so sad?
That's pretty amazing,
It must be
Jen.
like 75% for you.
So yeah, you graduated from high school.
I did,
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
I did.
Well, that's how we got this
Yeah,
job.
it only
we
took
both
6
graduated
years.
from high school. So, how was the New Year's? You went away.
I did. I went to Phoenix, and remember I told you that I was doing stunt training?
Yes.
Well, it actually saved me from really terrible injury while we were in Phoenix. My husband loves mountain biking, and I am not very good at mountain biking, but I try to keep up with him because I want to be supportive and like participate in the same
hold it
activities.
just for one sec. I
Okay.
thought you were good at everything.
I am good, but not great at this.
Okay.
But anyway, so we're in this super rocky area, and I don't know what happened. I was like navigating through the rocks, and I think I used my front brake at the same time as hitting a rock, and I just went straight over the handlebars of my bike. But thanks to all of my stunt training, I just instinctively somehow rolled out of it. But I didn't let go of the handlebars, so I like rolled and then ended up with the bike still on top of me on my back. But yeah, no major head injuries that I'm aware of.
Good thing you didn't get hurt. Is there video?
There is not, no.
Oh, well,
I couldn't believe he didn't have the camera on me because he had the GoPro going, but didn't catch it. So just road burn on the side of my body.
There you go. Guess what?
Yeah.
Brand new show of Art Stock coming up here right away.
Oh, that's right. Who's on the show today, Bill?
Steve Winjet from Kamikaze Inc. So we're going to be talking about a tattoo that I'm going to be getting over the next course of a few weeks here on Art Stock. And then we have Martin Kerr, a local musician.
Oh, right.
Who's got a show coming up at the Windspear. So why don't we get to this show right now?
Good idea.
We'll be right back after this. And welcome back. We have a fun guest. We're actually going to be doing some segments coming up in the near future on Arts Talk about tattooing and the whole process of getting a tattoo. So we have with us the owner of Kamikaze Inc., Steve Winjet. How are you, Steve?
I'm great, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So as I mentioned, I'm going to volunteer and come get a tattoo from you. I already have 3, but we're going to go through that whole process right from the beginning. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been tattooing for about 11 and a half years now, I understand.
Yeah, I started tattooing 2004. Shortly after that, opened my own shop. It was kind of happenstance. We came across a space, walking my wife to do a little workshop that she was doing. Walked by this space, found this space, and then just shortly after that, Kamikaze was born in 200 square feet in Edmonton.
So nice.
How many tattoo artists can work in that space?
It was just me at the time.
Oh, nice.
And now you're down in the Arena District.
Yeah, we're in the Ice District in about 1,200 square feet in a high-end, beautiful tattoo shop.
So you've been, though, an artist most of your life?
Yes, yes. Early on, I figured out that drawing is where I could create my world. You know, comics, Conan comics, Daredevil, came up watching Scooby-Doo and all the good cartoons, and just fell in love with that world. So.
And then you made the decision that you wanted to get into actually tattooing.
Yeah. It's funny how it worked out. A friend of mine introduced me to one of his friends. At the time I was going to graphic design school because I wanted to do something and be an artist, and I wasn't sure how I could do that, right? I wasn't selling oil paintings or anything, or what I did was very limited, right? Definitely couldn't have made a living off of it. And a friend introduced me to a guy who was paying me at first just to draw tattoos for him. And then I fell in love with the process of it, and next thing you know, I was tattooing.
So how hard is it going from a pen to the tattoo machine?
It's definitely, all of it is very different. A lot of people assume that if you can draw or you can paint, you can just work on skin, but what they don't take into consideration is the weight of the tattoo machine in your hand, the fact that your canvas is living, breathing, right, organ that moves and complains and sweats and needs pee breaks, and you know what I mean? Like it's a very different process, right?
Did you practice with one of those big vibrating pens? I remember having one when I was a kid.
That's a good question. The way I actually started practicing was I took a tattoo machine and put it in the vise, put a pencil in the vise, like taped up the tattoo, or the pencil, put the tattoo machine in the vise, and just practice drawing like that to get used to having that weight in my hand. And then eventually graduated to tattooing myself. And after I achieved some proficiency there, then I moved on to other people. I'd rather mess up on me than on you.
So just quickly, before we start talking about some of the upcoming segments that we're actually going to show on Arts Talk about the process, so what's your style? What's your tattoo style?
My main styles are realism, and then the opposite end of the spectrum, I love cartooning. Like that really is what I'm passionate about, is the realism and the cartooning. They just, they feed off. They're more similar, and especially in tattooing, than a lot of people realize. Right. The cartooning just has a big thick line around it, as opposed to the realism, there's no line.
So we couldn't get Jen to be brave enough to get a tattoo. I have 3, so I'm going to go through this whole process. So what we wanted to do for our viewers here, because tattooing is such an artwork, we wanted to show everybody the process. So for any viewers out there who maybe want to get a tattoo at some point down the road, they can see what that process is, right from the design, right up through to the point when the physical tattoo is actually done and completed.
I think they're going to get a tattoo of me, right?
We'll have to look.
That's what I remember hearing you talk about earlier anyways.
It could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were going to get a tattoo of me, but you wouldn't go for it, so.
No, it'd take up too much space.
Yeah.
We took the liberty of dressing you up as a Viking.
Yes.
Oh,
so.
fun.
I did have a chance to show Steve what I was looking at, wanting to get done ahead of time. So he's had a look at it. But our first segment coming up on our next show of Arts Talk, we'll actually be talking about the original design that I brought in and want Steve to draw. So we're going to go through that whole process. We're also going to talk about cover-ups as well. So explain a little bit what a cover-up is.
Cover-up is essentially masking an old tattoo that was either poorly executed or is old and the wearer doesn't want it anymore. Not all cover-ups are always bad tattoos. Sometimes, people get a tattoo, it's just not who they are anymore. So the cover-up is just a way of essentially masking the tattoo in the skin.
Okay. Well, just before we wrap up, we're going to see a lot of Steve over the next few weeks on Arts Talk, and myself and our producer Maura Penn, because she's going to get the cover-up done. How do people get a hold of you?
They can reach us at the shop, 780-702-7153, Kamikaze Tattoos, right downtown. We're friendly. It's a very inviting atmosphere, and if it's not, talk to me. Also on social media, we have Facebook page, Kamikaze Inc., and Instagram, basically all the social media.
All over the place.
Yeah,
excellent.
we try to utilize it.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. I'm going to be seeing you down at the studio, and we're going to see Steve next week on Arts Talk as we do some segments from Kamikaze.
Awesome, looking forward to it.
We'll be right back after this.
Thank you.
Lots of fun stuff coming up in Edmonton in the new year. So we have some events that we want to talk about. I have a couple here, Jen. One is Ali Hassan, who's a comedian. He's coming into Edmonton on January 19th, and he is the host of Laugh Out Loud on Sirius XM, and he is basically been called one of the top Canadian comedians by 1 million people, actually. So that's a lot of people that like him. So that comes up January 19th at 2017, so make sure to check out that show. I believe it is at the Festival Place out in Sherwood Park, so that'll be great. Classic Albums Live, which is also at Festival Place. Led Zeppelin Presents. So this, if you're a big Led Zeppelin fan and want an opportunity to go see this great cover band that does Led Zeppelin shows, this is the one you want to go see. So that happens on January 21st, Festival Place out in Sherwood Park. What do you got?
Well, I've got a couple more in the educational side of things because it's a new year, so we should be learning something. Ageless Art is coming on January 19th. And it's a class that you can take in St. Albert that this particular one is teaching you the interaction between colors and shapes when you're making an art project. And so every month they're going to do a new style of art inspired by what's hanging in the gallery there. So the class is from 1 to 3 p.m. on the third Thursday of each month. So this Thursday, January 19th, from 1 to 3 p.m. And then there's also Orange, which is a student-led design conference.
Sounds interesting.
That is the following weekend, so January 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And it's set up so that you can come and go depending on which workshops you want to take or which speaker you want to listen to. So Friday, it starts at 7 p.m. and then it goes all the way through until 4 p.m. on Sunday.
Excellent. Always lots going on in Edmonton. We'll be right back after this.
And welcome back. We are here with Martin Kerr, a local musician who specializes in modern folk, you would describe your music as?
Yeah, I'd say.
He's sold out a bunch of shows in Shuru Park, Edmonton, and has a big one coming up at the Windspear, which we'll talk about later.
That's right.
Tell us about your music. Were you born a musician, or did you grow into this?
I think so. I've always loved to sing, and my life's ambition was to never have a real job, so...
I can relate to that.
That's all our ambitions.
That's right. So yeah, I've always been singing ever since I was tiny, and managed to make a career out of it for the last 10 years.
That's fantastic.
And by the accent, tell us where you're originally from.
Originally from England, although it's been 15 years or so since I was living there. 17 now, I guess. And I've been in Edmonton for 12 of those, so this is really home now.
And you just have to tell our viewers as well, because off camera you told us where you were from. It was a place that nobody would know. Is what you
Yes,
said.
I'm from a little sleepy town called Oakham in the
Oakham.
East Midlands of England.
There you go.
What makes it sleepy?
Oh no, there's not much going on there. The kids always
okay.
complain about being boring and stuff, but looking back, it was a pretty great place to grow up, actually.
So you came to Canada, you've become a hard-working musician full-time, as you said.
I
and,
have.
How many albums do you have out now?
I've probably released 7 now, I think. It's hard to keep track, but I brought a couple of the latest ones with me to show you today.
Excellent.
Oh, show them to
Well, I
us.
shall. This is from my last sold-out show at Festival Place. It's a live album, my first live album, with a fantastic 5-piece band. I'm quite proud of that one. And this is my latest EP, which I released at that show. It's called The Update. And you can hear those on my website, martinkerrmusic.com.
So when people come to a Martin Kerr show, what can they expect?
I think they can expect some very inspiring moments and to have a good laugh as well. I'll tell some funny stories about how I came to be in Canada. I was lured / chased here by a stalker / beautiful woman.
Which you ended up marrying.
I did. I married my stalker, and I'm very
did?
glad that I did.
Us Canadian girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They know what they want.
They want the accent.
That's
What they want. So how many instruments do you play? Just the guitar, or do you play
Yeah, I'm
others
playing
as
a little
well?
bit of piano these days as well.
Oh, great.
But I like to bring along some of the fantastic musicians that Edmonton has to offer. There's a really fantastic group of instrumentalists of all kinds here in Edmonton, coming out of the Grant McEwen program and the U of A, and just teaching themselves too. It's a pretty vibrant community.
And you spend a lot of time writing mostly originals. I know you've done some covers as well. But so how with the live album that's out now, you've got the show coming up with the Windspear. Is there anything kind of in between that you're working on? Any new stuff that's going to be coming up in 2017?
In the next few months, I'm going to be writing and recording a new album.
Wow. You're a busy guy.
That's right. To be released at the Windspear, and this EP, The Update, is a preview of the new album. Basically, there's 4 songs on there that will feature on the full album.
What do you write about?
I started off writing about girls I was in love with that didn't like me, as most
As every
teenage
musician
songwriters get
does,
started
yes.
about the angsty stuff. But I've moved on to more thoughtful things now, and when you're happily settled and a family man, it's not so easy to write those angsty songs anymore. So, I try to write about universal themes. I've been writing about the challenge that we're all facing between, the cravings of our heart and the bombardment that we get from the outside, from the digital world, and constantly being prompted to read this and look at that, and not finding our center.
Somewhat similar to the latest video that you had out.
That's right. Yeah, the title track is called the EP. The EP is called The Update, and it's the tagline is, "Won't someone send an update to my soul?" We're always getting these updates for our phones and our computers, but we're really looking to make progress in our inner lives, our minds and our hearts. So, I like to write about those contrasts.
So if you're going to go to a show at the Windspear, bring a box of Kleenexes. I'm
Oh yeah,
confident.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't laughed and cried, then I consider the show a failure. But everybody always does, so it's good.
So, how does it feel to be performing at a venue like the Windspear? Now, you've performed there before.
I have.
You and I worked
That's
together
right.
there.
We worked together. I opened for the Canadian Tenors.
You sure did.
At a show that you put on. That was great. And the Windspear is my favorite place to play in the world, I think. It's such a
venue.
beautiful sounding room, and the feeling that you get having a standing ovation at the Windspear is like none other. So it made sense, having sold out festival place and wanting to go one bigger, to rent the Windspear. So it's a bit of an unusual thing for a local street performer, and that's how I got my start to rent a big theatre like that. But I wanted to do something special for my fans, and I've sold about 10, 12,000 albums just in Edmonton, about 16,000 total in my career.
That's awesome.
Edmonton's very supportive of
Yeah.
the local artists.
So there's a lot of folks in Edmonton that have a Martin Kerr record that have heard me before, and I'm hoping that lots of them come out to the show and fill those seats.
For sure. So that leads us right in for our viewers. How do they get
Yeah.
more information about you and the show at the Windspear?
Well, the show's at May 24th, which is a Wednesday night. I think it's right after the long weekend. And we did it midweek because people always go away at that time of year. They get a little excited about the summer coming. So it's going to be a great show. I'm going to have a mix of originals and covers, tell some stories. There'll be, as always, some brilliant accompanists with me, and I'll do some solo songs as well. So if you've heard me before, then I think you'll want to come along. If you haven't, then you can check me out at martinkermusic.com, and you can call the Windspear box office for tickets.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Martin. Make sure you get out to see his show at the Windspear.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down to the studio.
My pleasure.
We'll
Good
be
to see
right
you
back
there.
after this.
Thanks,
You
Jim.
bet, Martin.
You're welcome. And welcome back. Unfortunately, that's the end of our show, and it was a super great one.
That was good. Martin is an awesome artist. You want to get out and see his show for sure.
Looking
And
forward
then,
to it.
as we talked, Steve,
I'm excited about your tattoo of me.
yeah, my tattoo of my own custom design, not of you. But you said you're going to get my initials tattooed on your forearm.
Yeah, yeah.
So that'll be next step. But Jen was just too scared to go actually get the tattoo. So I will suffer through the pain of getting the tattoo for Arts Talk and for the art of tattooing, because that's what I do. I'm a professional.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
What's coming up in our January show? I hear some pretty exciting
We have
stuff.
some magic. We've had a magician on before, but we have a really good magician coming on by the name of Dr. J.
How good.
Just an awesome magician.
I love magicians.
So do I. They surprise us all the time when they come on here. We never know how they do anything. One of these days it'd be nice to try and figure it out, but I guess it wouldn't be magic at that point.
True. It would ruin it.
And then we have coming on Greg Shimazu, who's from Booming Tree
Right, we
Taiko.
just saw him.
So we had them on, they played Little Drummer Boy for us on our Christmas show. But we wanted to have Greg back on because he was in an accident about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and suffered quite a major brain injury, actually. And we want to talk to him how it's affected his art and how he's had to get back into, doing his art and learning it, kind of relearning it basically again.
Yeah.
So we thought that would be really important to talk about in the arts community, that yes, you can come back from an injury and still do your art and be professional with it and have fun with it and be able to perform and do everything that you did before.
Oh, it's very brave of him to come back and speak so openly about that.
For sure. He hasn't done it a lot publicly, so it'll be good for him to come on and do that with us.
Awesome. Well, if you want to be on our show, you can send us an email at artstalkedmonton@gmail.com, or you can contact us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and it's at artstalktv if you want to get a hold of us there.
For sure. If you have an event coming up or you just want to promote yourself, this is the perfect show to do that on. Is come on Arts Talk and we'll talk to you. You can show some of your work if you've got any, if you're a visual artist, and we can go from there. So Jen, another show, 2017, wrapped.
Yeah, it was a good show, and you know what? I'm excited about what 2017 is going to bring. It's going to be amazing.
It'll be fun. We'll see you next time.